While officials of the Consumer Affairs Authority and other institutions set up, of course, under emergency regulations in the countries continue to raid rice mills in the country, the Consumer Affairs Authority raided a Sathosa outlet recently. What were the revelations made through this raid? We've got details of these stories and more coming up tonight. First, a look at your top stories.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
Rice mill owners broke the agreement and cut the supply to the market by 50%. President spokesperson clarifies reasons for the government's intervention in the market. Sathosa sneaks out 2 confiscated containers of garlic to private traders. A revelation from the Consumer Affairs Authority.
මොකද සතෝසෙන් මෙහෙම වෙනවා නම් අපි මේ පොඩි වෙළඳසැල් අල්ලල්ලා ඉඳලා වැඩක් නැහැ මේ මේවා හදන්න ඕන ඉස්සෙල්ලා.
Minister Namal Rajapaksa reassures that the government is on the people's side.
එහෙනම් අපි ජනතාවාදී ආණ්ඩුවක් ජනතාවට අහුම්කම් දෙන ආණ්ඩුවක් සංවේදී ආණ්ඩුවක්.
A ruling party parliamentarian makes a request from the people.
මේ වෙලාවේ හැමෝම 3 වේලක් කෑවනම් සමහර විට 2 වේලක් කාලා ජීවත් වෙන්න වේවි දවස් කිහිපයක් තව.
Country in an era of queues, opposition leader informs the government to resign and seek the mandate of the people.
වහාම ඉල්ලාස් වෙලා මේ රට පාලනය කිරීමේ වගකීම මේ රටේ ජනතාවට නැවතත් වරක් තෝරා ගැනීමේ අවස්ථාව ලබා දෙනවා.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
A young Sri Lankan artist is making the rounds on social media on a global scale these days. We start off tonight's news with a look at this youth sensation.
By Yohani has now become a popular tune among all Sri Lankans alike and across the globe. With veteran Bollywood actor Amitabh Bachchan taking to Twitter praising the song for its authenticity, the song has become a phenomenon in India after topping charts in many music shows. Different renditions of Yohani's Manike Mage Hite are also seen across the global music landscape. Today, the song surpassed 100 million views on YouTube, becoming the most watched song on YouTube by a Sri Lankan artist in the history of Sri Lanka.
Song hit 100 million views today. I'm humbled by all of the responses and thank you for everyone who shared and liked the song. Hope you guys will enjoy my future productions too. Stay safe.
Taking a look at some political news, President's media spokesperson Kingsley Ratnayaka said that although rice mill owners agreed to cooperate with the government as the country is in the midst of a crisis, they had breached that agreement. Issuing a special statement on the price of rice, he said that rice mill owners had cut the supply of rice to the market by 50%.
You might remember that the business community accepted the fact that the country is facing a crisis and publicly said that they will not act in a manner that would inconvenience the government. However, they breached that agreement they made with the government. During the past few days, large-scale rice mill owners had cut down their supply of rice to the market by over 50%. Everyone accepts the fact that this is extremely unfair by the consumers and that the consumers cannot bear this cost. You can understand the level of political influence here when you see people who initially claim that the rice mafia is operated by large-scale rice mill owners in the country and are now coming forward to protect these very same rice mill owners. However, reaffirming the mandate of the people to build a prosperous nation and for the well-being of the people, the President used his powers to ensure that a prosperous country is built based on a people-centric economy.
තීන්දුව තීරණ ගනිමින් ජනතා කේන්ද්‍රීය ආර්ථිකයක් සෞභාග්‍යමත් රටක් ගොඩනගන බව ජනාධිපතිවරයාගේ ස්ථාවරයයි.
How did confiscated garlic from the port that was handed over to Sathosa go to the hands of private businessmen through the back door? A few weeks ago, the cabinet had granted approval for Sathosa to distribute stocks of essential food items that had not been cleared by their importers from the port for various reasons. Following the decision, various such food items were handed over to Sathosa to be distributed among the public. An investigation by the Consumer Affairs Authority revealed that 2 containers of garlic that Sathosa received under this program had been secretly sold at a cheap price to a private businessman. According to the Consumer Affairs Authority, over 50,000 kilos of garlic had been sold through the back door. The Consumer Affairs Authority raided the Sathosa warehouse in Sidua based on information received regarding this transaction. The transaction had taken place at about 10:30 p.m. on the 9th of this month. The Consumer Affairs Authority stated that receipts of 7.4 million rupees worth of garlic had not been issued, and the stocks were transferred from the Sathosa warehouse through a letter. We would like to ask the President to inquire into this. If Sathosa is doing such things, going and nabbing small businessmen is pointless. A proper investigation must be carried out by the CID. It is unlikely that Sathosa themselves would investigate this incident. According to the information we have, a member of the upper management had been involved in this transaction. If not, how can a person at a small store sell 56,000 kilos? These instructions were given from the head office. We have those documents. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Trade issued a communique and said that the ministry has launched an investigation into the matter. The communique states that the Minister of Trade, Bandula Gunawardena, has instructed to suspend the service of the officials responsible for this. The Ministry of Trade points out that this transaction had taken place without any approval of the upper management of Sathosa, and added that Minister Bandula Gunawardena has called for an immediate investigation into the matter. If the Ministry of Trade is saying that this has happened without the knowledge of the upper management, what's the point of having an upper management? There is a chairman, there is a CEO, there are secretaries that oversee these. This is not just 1 or 2 kilos of garlic. This is 56,000 kilos of garlic.
15
employees at Sathosa have already been suspended. We will take steps to punish any official involved in these incidents, regardless of what position they hold.
This was the request made by SLPP MP Jagat Kumara at a media briefing today.
Maybe the
people will have to consume 2 meals instead of 3 on a daily basis for some time. If we can make that sacrifice and make an effort to curb this situation, that will pay off in the future. The next generations will benefit from that. We have given our salaries, we have to make sacrifices as well. There is no shortage of goods in Sri Lanka. The opposition is clinging to this undergarments issue. This decision provides a good opportunity for the local apparel industry. There is nothing like you have to eat apples and orange. There are locally grown fruits in Sri Lanka. I do not think people tolerating this for some time is an issue.
Attending a media briefing with a group of apparel manufacturers, Minister of Trade Bandula Gunawardena made this statement.
If there is anyone who needs undergarments, as the Minister of Trade, I will accept responsibility and state that these manufacturers have enough of stocks to meet the demand. So despite this misleading propaganda, I am also hoping to launch a program through Sathosa and state institutions to provide these apparels at a price lower than the market price to anyone who needs them.
Sathosa රාජ්‍ය ආයතන මගින් සපයන්නත් අලුත් වැඩපිළිවෙලක් සකස් කරන්න මම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa says the government must resign and seek the mandate of the people.
Sri Lanka is embarking on an era of queues and dry rations. The main reason for this is wrong financial management and economic policies. This government, as soon as they came into power, provided financial aid to rich businessmen instead of giving it to the general public of the country. Through that, the country lost its state income. Because of that, the government has been unable to provide concessions to the people. It is with shame I say that the essential items you can purchase when you go to Satosa have also been limited. Was this why 6.9 million people voted this government in? Are we going towards an era of queues? The economic policy of our country should be entirely revised. We request the government to step down immediately without dragging our country towards bankruptcy. Step down and give the people of this country the opportunity to vote and choose their leaders once again. The people of this country are in hunger. They are suffering. We cannot wait any longer. We cannot look at the plight of the people anymore. The people will not tolerate this anymore as well.
මේ දුක දිහා බලාගෙන අපිට ඉන්නට බෑ. තවදුරටත් මේ රටේ ජනතාව ඉවසන්නේ නැහැ.
Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa expressed these views joining the 26th program of the Janasuwe project. The Janasuwe project, which is carried out in line with the VACCINATION initiative, donated 3.5 million rupees worth of medical equipment to the Tissa Maharama base hospital.
A number of development projects are currently ongoing. The government is preparing to declare open the second phase of the Central Expressway from Mirigama to Kurunegala in November. An estimated 150 billion rupees has been spent on the construction on this section of the expressway that is 40.91 kilometers long. Funds for the project was provided by 5 local banks and the Treasury. The Ministry of Highways attended a program to plant trees on either side of the expressway.
We were scheduled to complete the construction of the Central Expressway 9 to 10 months ago. However, this project was delayed as the government of good governance handed over the contracts of these projects to businessmen close to them. We had to suspend the contracts granted to the contractors who had not carried out the projects. We had to go to court and get an assurance that the construction of the expressway from Mirigama to Kurunegala will be concluded by the 15th of November. The people say we have made the right decisions. We did not seek political revenge. If we sought political revenge, all these people who are responsible for these wrongdoings would be in jail. We want to develop this country.
State Minister of Capital Markets Ajit Niwad Cabral said that he is ready to take up the seat of Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka after the resignation of Professor W.D. Lakshman.
State Minister Ajit Niwad Cabral confirmed to Newsfirst that he will step down from his parliamentary seat next Monday to take up the position of Governor of the Central Bank. He said that he expects to assume duties before the end of next week. The current Governor of the Central Bank announced yesterday that he will resign from his position on the 14th of this month.
How can Ajit Niwad Cabral become the governor of the central bank? A parliamentarian cannot become the governor of the central bank. Yes, well, you can't work the morning hours in parliament and then come to the central bank in the evening. Can you sit here in parliament as a politician and then take up the post of the governor of the central bank and act independently? That cannot be done. If he is appointed to this position, there will be many issues. This will not be a move that will contribute to build confidence. This is a very challenging time for Ajit Niwad Cabral to accept this position. Also, we believe that he contributed to the management of the country's economy when the global financial crisis took place in 2008 and during the war. We believe that he will use those experiences to develop a strong economy again.
Who will be appointed to the National List parliamentary seat left vacant by the resignation of Ajit Niwad Cabral?
There is some indication that since it was Jayantha Katagoda who sacrificed his parliamentary seat for Basil Rajapaksa, the party will decide that based on what he has done, he is the person who should be appointed to this seat.
All schools in Sri Lanka have been closed for over a year since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic in the country. When will these schools reopen? We'll bring you the details after this short commercial break.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
Bellboy's got you covered. Download Bellboy today to get all your household appliance fixing and repairs done. Now available on Android and iOS.
Welcome back to the news. The report on reopening schools in the country, prepared by an expert committee, will be presented to the President on Friday. The committee made this announcement at the Ministry of Health today.
The committee, headed by the Director General of Health Services, includes pediatricians, epidemiologists, representatives of the Ministry of Education and members of the Government Medical Officers Association. According to our recommendations, students must be administered the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine. That is what we discussed. Based on the data that is globally available, children below the age of 12 are not eligible to be vaccinated. So the committee carried out discussions on the students between the ages of 12 and 19. We must then sort them based on factors like who are at a higher risk owing to their medical complications and those who are not. We are all of the intention that the children must only be vaccinated following clear understanding of the recommendations made by experts, especially while considering the risks and consequences of receiving the vaccine. Is the vaccination drive carried out without the expertise of specialists? We presented a set of recommendations regarding the vaccination drive. The recommendations were prepared with the input of experts and then presented to the authorities. However, we noticed that the vaccination drive carried out across several areas today was not based on the recommendations made by the technical committee. We recommended that the vaccine drive for the population above the age of 60 be prioritized, but they have begun administering the vaccine to other age groups without the completion of the vaccination of those above the age of 60. Who made these recommendations? Over 80% of those who died of COVID-19 were above the age of 60. We could have avoided such a situation if they were vaccinated in the first place. Those who made these unwise technical decisions and those who violated the health experts' recommendations must be responsible for this. The government is attempting to level allegations and say that the elderly population did not come to get vaccinated. That is not true. The elderly population was not able to receive the vaccines as a result of the wrong decisions made by the Ministry of Health. This is the reason why 70 to 75% of those who died of COVID-19 are from the elderly population. The death toll exceeded 11,000 today. The authorities who made these wrong decisions regarding the vaccination drive must be held responsible for these deaths. This is a crime. A request from the Army Commander. If you have not received the vaccine yet, and especially if you are above the age of 60, I urge you to obtain the vaccine as soon as possible. The President instructed the Director General of Health Services to look into those who have not yet received the vaccine. The Gram Niladaris have been instructed to do the same as well. This means that we will have to deploy officers to go from door to door. I don't think it should end up in such a situation. Did quarantine curfew have an effect on controlling the spread of COVID-19?
There was a slight drop in the number of reported cases. There's a small reduction in the number of deaths reported as well. We are successfully carrying out the vaccination program in the country. The government has begun to vaccinate the youth of the country between 20 and 29 years of age. We believe that by the end of September or the beginning of November, the number of cases and the number of deaths will reduce. We cannot close down the country and control the spread of COVID-19. Although countries closed down during the first few waves, many countries in the world and are focused on vaccination programs and adhering to health guidelines. The people of our country need to learn to live under these new conditions.
Do
your online shopping with Sambole.lk. Home delivery and pickup now available.
Sambole.lk.
We want the freedom to think,
the freedom to decide,
the freedom to speak,
a just society,
the freedom to learn what we want.
We do not want interference.
We need space for our ideas.
We want to be able to walk in freedom.
We can achieve all of this by building a society of equality and respect.
Let's move in one direction towards one goal, casting aside all divisions, moving forward.
Welcome back to the news. Minister Namal Rajapaksa inspected a number of development projects in Polonnaruwa today. State ministers Siripala Gamlat and Roshan Ranasinghe also joined the minister on the inspection tour. When the group visited the construction site of a trilingual school in Kanduruela, a group of farmers spoke with the ministers. The discussion subsequently gave rise to a debate between the two state ministers.
The farmers who spoke with the minister pointed out that the stipulated price of 50 rupees for a kilo of paddy is insufficient.
මගේ ගාව බිල් තියෙනවා ගේ කන්නෙත් 60 දෙයා වී දුන්නා නඩු ඔබතුමාලගේ ඉල්ලීම සාධාරණයි ඇමතුමා පොළොන්නරුවට ආපු වෙලේ ගිය පාර මහින්දානන්ද ඇමතුමා අසරණ කරා වගේ මට ඒක කරන්න ඉඩ තියන්න බෑ ගොවියෝ වෙනුවෙන් පෙනී ඉන්න එක උපරිමෙන් අපි කරනවා ඒකේ කිසි ගැටලුවක් නැහැ දැන් අරණිය වලට ඒගොල්ලෝ පිළිගත්තා ඊට පාට වී අරගෙන ඒගොල්ලෝ ආන්දෝලන ගහලා දෙන්න පුළුවන් 50 නේ දැන් රජයේ වැඩිහක්කම නිසා තමයි 60 පාට වී ගන්න නැත්තේ ගොවියන්ට උපරිම මිලක් අරන් දෙන්න ඕන කියන දේ ඉන්නවා ඔය ප්‍රශ්නේ දැම්මේ නැත්නම් වී මිල මෙලටත් 60 පවයි කිසිසේත් අපි ගොවියට අසාධාරණයක් වෙන්න තියන්න හින්දා බය වෙන්න එපා මම මේක දැනගන්න මගේ අතට දෙන්න මගේ ගමෙත් ඉන්නේ ගොවියෝ මට දැන් අපි අසරණ වෙලා පැහැදිලිව අපි කියනවා අපේ
We must clearly state that this government is on the side of the people. We are a government formed by the people. Not only today, but even in the past. When there was some sort of opposition from the people, we took one step back. When the East Container Terminal issue cropped up, we took one step back. During the 20th Amendment, we took a step back. We are a people-centric government. We are a government that listens to the people. We are a sensitive government.
The Joint Farmers Association of the Polonnaruwa district convened a media briefing today.
They are going to construct a walking track along the banks of the Vava even without giving the farmers the concessions they requested for. You can see the state of our nation. They say that we don't have this and that, people don't have food to eat, but they have money to construct walking tracks. We said that we will not allow this construction to go ahead and they have stopped the project for now. Until the 25th of this month, we will wait patiently without doing anything. But after the 25th of this month, we will agree on a decision. We will inform you of that decision then. This must be restored by the 25th. Minister Roshan is saying that they will not take a step back as farmers who die of kidney disease, snake bites, and after being attacked by elephants. We are not afraid of these. We are ready to sacrifice our lives on the banks of this Vava. This Vava is our heart. I am making this statement on behalf of the entire farming community of the country. We are not afraid to sacrifice our lives for the price of paddy, the fertilizer subsidy and the Vava. We will fight.
Some come and ask us whether our country is cursed or if we have angered the gods. This is a frequent question asked from us. When they came into power, it was indeed a feast, but as of today, people are under the impression that the feast has turned into a funeral. One group is resigning, another group is just watching on the sidelines. The central bank governor is disappointed. The state employees are utterly disappointed. Today we are facing a situation where we regret our own decisions. We never expected this. Everyone was of the opinion that we appointed a leader who could make this country shine, but today what's happening is completely different to what we were told. Even back then we said not to make this a Chinese colony, but if they are disregarding our opinions and selling parts of the country and trying to sell off The 13 acres at the Colombo port, what will happen to the country? We have just gone from bad to worse. We've fallen from the frying pan to the fire.
අද අපට වෙලා තිබෙන්නේ මොකද්ද? අර කබඩෙන් ලිපට වැඩි තත්ත්වයක් පවත්වලා තින්නේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් අර කතාවක් තියෙනවා දැන් හරියට අර ඉඟුරු දීලා මිරිස් ගත්තා සමානයි. ඉඟුරුත් කඩ දානවා මිරිසුත් කඩ දානවා. අපට වෙලා තිබෙන්නේ අපි ඉඟුරු දීලා අපි ගත්තේ මොනවද? මිරිස් ටිකක් අරන් තියෙනවා.
The Trade Unions Coordination Center expressed these views regarding the plan to hand over 13 acres of the Colombo port to China.
The
agreement said that it is not a sale but a lease. The government clearly shows that they are unable to operate the country without the option of selling parts of Sri Lanka to foreign countries. Our concern is if Colombo will be left with a freight service centre. The South Container Terminal has been taken over by China. The port city is being operated by China. What colony will Colombo be converted into?
Colombo හැදෙන්නේ මොන colonyද?
The data scam.
How did the data of the NMRA in the government cloud get deleted? These are the views expressed by the health trade unions today.
ඖෂධ නියාමන අධිකාරියේ දත්ත සොරකම සම්බන්ධයෙන් මට පේන්නේ සෞඛ්‍ය
I feel the Ministry of Health and the State Ministry and the government are just enacting a drama about the NMRA data theft. An institution that has been subject to a criminal investigation, being investigated by the MPs and whitewashing it even before the results of the criminal investigation are revealed are simply efforts to cover up the mistake. Why did the parliamentarians try to cover this up? They publicized the arrest of the head of the private company and simply released him the next day. But no one says who is responsible for this. So we are saying there is no solution to this problem. They are legitimizing an endless investigation and saying that there is no problem here. Then from another side they are saying COVID-related purchases were not affected by this. They are saying the COVID-related purchases were done manually. Organizations go for digitization to speed up their processes. Then problems arise as to why these COVID-19 related purchases were done through manual files. Why was it done slowly? Then there is a problem about vaccines. Why didn't they digitize the products related to COVID-19? There is a confusion here. This confusion and those who are responsible for it have to be revealed before the country. We do not see that happening.
පැටලවිලි සහගත තත්ත්වයක් තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා මේ පැටලවිලි සහගත තත්ත්වයට වගකිය යුතු සහායකට හේතුව රටට හෙළිදරව් වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒක තාම හරියට වෙනවා කියලා අපිට පේන්නට නැහැ.
The first phase of beautifying the entrance of the Southern Expressway under the Siyak Nagara program was launched in Bentoda today. However, an individual staged a demonstration claiming that the project was unnecessary.
₹13.18 million has been allocated for the project that was launched by the State Ministry of Urban Development, Waste Disposal and Community Cleanliness.
I don't know if the minister or the chairman is aware of this, but the officials of the Urban Development Authority are aware of this. Only a few people here know how much I fought to get it on the list of the 100 cities. If I did not fight, we wouldn't have got any of this. I spoke to him and asked why my town wasn't included. I said my town Bentoda must be included.
Today, and that's a wrap of Primetime News on TV1 for tonight. I'm Charlene Benedict along with our sign language interpreter for tonight, Brian De Cruz. Take care. Good night.